All right, let's say you have an existing Power BI report with design data imported using one of our custom data connectors available in the APS Power BI Tools GitHub repository. In my case, I've used the Design Properties connector to import information such as design URNs, element external IDs, element names, etc. And now we want to embed the APS viewer into this report as well. What we can do is we can use the three dots here and say import visual from a file. And we can download a ready-to-use viewer visual from the GitHub repository as well. You can head over to the release section and download the latest APS viewer visual that's available. All right, going back to Power BI, we can say import. We can pick the PBI.viz file that we've just downloaded. Now we can add the visual to our report and we'll need to configure it. First thing we want to do is in the format your visual section, we want to specify the endpoint that the viewer will be able to call whenever it needs a fresh access token for actually accessing the data in Autodesk Platform Services. You can either implement your own web service that will generate these access tokens for the viewer, or you can use one of our existing services that are also available in the APS Power BI Tools repository. We have one service called APS Shares app. We also have a live demo. And this service creates what we call shares. These are sort of like long-term sharing links that can generate access tokens for one specific design in your projects. And in my case, I'm going to pick the basic sample Revit project here, copy the endpoint that will be able to generate access tokens, and paste it to my visual. As soon as we do that, the viewer will initialize itself, but it's not loading any models yet. In order to do that, I'm going to go back to the first tab here, and I'm going to pick the design URNs and element external IDs and bind them to this input. What that means is by adding the design URNs, the viewer will know which design we actually want to load. And optionally, by adding element external IDs, the viewer will also react to different filtering events happening inside the report. Let me show you. We save the report and we can start doing things like, for example, selecting just the elements or filtering just the elements that have the material set to timber insulated. And as soon as we do that, the viewer will react to that filtering and only show us the elements that actually match the filter.